Hello everyone. So today we'll be starting a new unit, that is diversity in living organisms. This unit has three chapters. First chapter is your biological classification. Then we'll be dealing with plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Right? So let's start with the first chapter, that is biological classification. See, biological classification, as its name suggests, living organisms which are classified, that means biological, it means living organism has to be classified into different categories so that our learning becomes a little bit easier, right? It becomes easier for us to differentiate between living organisms, what is basically their physiology, how their body is working, what type of metabolism they are performing in, right? So for that reason, we are dealing with biological classification. Number one, that the very first question that arises is why we need to classify living organisms, right? Why we need to classify living organisms is the basic question that arises, but the reasons are very simple. See, we have seen so much of urbanization, right? We have seen so much of civilization, and with that civilization, we come across with new species, right? Old species are also there. New species are we are come across in new species. So we have to differentiate all those old and new species from each other, and for that one important reason, classification is very important, right? Aristotle, he was the first to who attempt to classify living organisms, right? Aristotle was the first who the earliest attempt to classify living organisms was done by Aristotle, right? He hadn't given a more scientific reason. He actually classified living organisms on morphology, right? On simple morphology. That means on simple physical characters, on how the living organisms are looking, right? On their external features, he classified them into trees, shrubs, and herbs, right? On the basis of their height. Okay? Then he also divided animals into two groups, which have red cell and the other who did not have red cell. It is written here. Animals with red blood cells like whales, fishes, birds, viviparous, oviparous, and animals who do not have red blood, that means insects, cephalopods, plants, and some animals as well, right? So this is the actual reason why we need to classify living organisms. Let's come to the next topic, which is different type of classification. Now we are dealing with the other thing, that how many classifications are there, right? We have started classification from two kingdom, right? In 1758, Aristotle, as we know that Aristotle didn't give any scientific reasons for classification, so that type of classification we didn't count it in scientific types of classification. We have the very first scientific classification was given by Carolus Linnaeus, and that was known as two kingdom classification. Carolus Linnaeus gave two kingdom classification in 1758, right? What did he say? He divided living organisms into two groups. One group is for animals and the other is for plant, right? We have plant kingdom and the other animal kingdom. Animal kingdom was known as Animalia and plant kingdom is known as Plantae, right? He classified these two groups on four bases. Number one is presence of cell wall, whether the cell wall is present in their cellular structure or it is absent, right? If it is absent, then they are animals, and if it is present, then they are plants. Type of nutrition, right? We all know that nutrition is of two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. In autotrophic nutrition is shown by those living organisms who produce their own food. Autotrophs, auto means self nutrition. If they are driving self nutrition, then that is known as autotrophs. Plants, they are preparing their own food with the help of sunlight through photosynthesis, right? So they are known as autotrophs. And heterotrophs are the other organisms which depend on on other organisms for their nutrition. Heterotroph, that means they show different kind of modes for nutrition, be it saprophytic, parasitic, holozoic, right? Be it any type of nutrition, all those they are coming up in one category, that is heterotroph, right? Heterotroph in very simpler language, these are the organisms which derive their nutrition from other living organisms, right? Third mode of classification is locomotion. Locomotion is that movement in which the organism is changing its position, right? Locomotion is that movement in which organism is changing its position. We have written here the difference between locomotion and movement, right? We have a very very thin line difference between locomotion and movement, right? Movement is action that may or may not result in change of place. That means if we are standing still, if we are stationary and we are moving our hands or our head, then that is a movement, right? But if we are walking and which is resulting in change in our position, then that type of movement is known as locomotion, right? So that's why we have written locomotion here and not movement, right? So plants, they do not show locomotion because they cannot move, they cannot change their place on their own, but animals can. Animals can change their position by their own, right? The fourth difference, the fourth mode of classification is response to stimuli. What is a stimuli? Stimuli is any change in surrounding. Any change in surrounding is known as stimuli, right? It may be an external or internal change, anything which is changing around yourself, around you, and you are responding to that, that is known as your consciousness, right? So yes, there are a few plants who are conscious about their surrounding, but they don't have self-consciousness. Animals have self-consciousness, right? So this is the main criteria on which Carolus Linnaeus gives two kingdom classification, and this is the only first type of classification that we are dealing with, right? Then in 1969, five kingdom classification arrived. R.H. Whitaker was the one who gave this five kingdom classification. Along with Plantae and kingdom Animalia, he added three more kingdoms: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, and kingdom Fungi, right? So in total, he gave five kingdoms to classify living organisms, right? That is known as five kingdom classification, right? So there is a table in which this classification is shown, right? This five kingdom classification in which we have kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, Fungi, and kingdom Animalia, right? So what is the actual basis of classification in this five kingdom classification? We have written the characters. There are in total five characters on which these five kingdom they are classified on the basis of these five characters. Number one, we have cell type. That what type of cell they have. We know that there are two types of cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, right? Prokaryotic cells are the primitive type of cells. Prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic is the primitive type of cell in which there is no membrane-bounded organelle present, right? But in eukaryotic type of cell, it is much more developed, advanced type of cell in which membrane-bounded cell organelles are present. Nuclear membrane is there, but in prokaryotes, no such structure is present, right? So let's see. Only kingdom Protista. As you can see, only kingdom Protista is there which have prokaryotic type of cell. Rest four kingdoms, they all have eukaryotic type of cell, right? The other character is cell wall. The first question is the cell wall, whether the cell wall is present or not, right? And then if yes, then what composition of cell wall is there? Two questions are there for cell wall: whether the cell wall is present or not, and if yes, then what is the composition of cell wall, right? So as we can see that cell wall is present in starting four kingdoms, but it is absent in animals, right? We all know that. In two kingdom classification, we have also learned it that plants, they have cell wall, but animals, they don't have. That is the one important, classification basis that was used by Carolus Linnaeus. Again, by R.H. Whittaker, cell wall is used to classify kingdoms, right? So first we have Monera. Monera, let me tell you, kingdom Monera, it comprises bacteria, right? And bacteria cell wall, it is non-cellulosic. That means it is not made up of cellulose. It is made up of polysaccharides and amino acid. It has been written here. It's written here that non-cellulosic cell wall, it comprises polysaccharides and amino acids. Then we come to kingdom Protista. In kingdom Protista, we have different categories, right? When we'll be dealing with kingdom Protista, we will have that differentiation table in which different kinds of classes of kingdom Protista will be there, right? So in that case, you will be learning that different types of Protestants have different composition of cell wall, right? So yes, cell wall is present, but there is difference in classification, and some may also present in kingdom Protista which do not have cell wall, right? The other kingdom is kingdom Fungi. They have cell wall, and their cell wall is made up of chitin, right? Chitin is somehow a hard substance, right? So it is difficult to digest chitin, right? Then we have kingdom Plantae. Plantae, we all know that cellulosic cell wall is there in plants, which is very much difficult to digest. It is one of the most hardest organic matter present in earth crust, right? Then in kingdom Animalia, cell wall is absent, right? Next, we have nuclear membrane. This is somehow related to the type of cell, right? Type of cell, as I told you that prokaryotic cell, they do not have nuclear membrane, right? They do not have nuclear membrane, right? So that kingdom in which prokaryotic cell is there, it's but obvious that they will not have a membrane, nuclear membrane in their cell. It's somehow related, right? So only kingdom Monera is there in which prokaryotic type of cell is present. So nuclear membrane will be absent in them, and rest of the kingdom they will be having nuclear membrane because the cell type in the next four kingdoms is eukaryotic, and eukaryotic cell they have nuclear membrane. Right? Then next basis of classification is body organization. What is the actual body organization? That means the cells through which the body is made up of an organism, in what criteria, in what pattern they are arranged, right? So we all know that we have a cellular level, tissue level, organ system level, right? So let's start with kingdom Monera. See, as we go from a primitive type of cell to the well-developed type of cell, the organ level, it gets increasing. The complexity of body organization will get increased, right? See, prokaryotic cell, or you can say the kingdom Monera, which have prokaryotic cell, it has a primitive type of cell, so the cell organization will be simple. That is only cellular type, right? But as we go from kingdom Monera to kingdom Animalia, as the type of cell will get advanced or modified or developed, then this body organization will also get much complex, right? So kingdom Monera and kingdom Protista, they both have cellular type of organization, but from kingdom Fungi to kingdom Animalia, the complexity will get increased and it will come up with multicellular, then tissue level or organ level, and then at last animals. We know that when we'll be learning this animal kingdom, no, then we'll understand that there are different type of phylums in which tissue level, organ system level is seen, right? We have different animals, be it the simple animals or the complex animals. The criteria of body organization is different in different phylums of kingdom Animalia, right? So we have different type of body organization here. The last basis of classification is mode of nutrition. How they are getting their nutrition, right? We know that there are two main types of mode of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic, right? We have learned it previously. So autotrophic, the kingdom Monera, they may be autotrophic, right? They may be autotrophic in which chemosynthetic autotrophs or photosynthetic autotrophic nutrition will be there. Yes, they are autotrophic, but on the basis of raw material they are using. Chemical, if they are using chemical for photosynthesis, if they are using sunlight for photosynthesis, then on the basis of this, they can be chemosynthetic autotroph or photosynthetic autotroph, right? Then they may be, some mangoes may be heterotrophic, right? In heterotrophic, there may be saprophytic, they may show saprophytic mode of nutrition or this parasitic mode of nutrition, anything, right? So the range varies, right? The mode of nutrition range varies in kingdom Monera because bacteria, no, as they are very simple in structure, but functionally they are very complex. This is the line of your NCRT only, that structurally bacteria are very simple, but functionally they are very complex, right? As we can see that functionally mode of nutrition is, it is very, it has different varieties. All the different varieties, they can be seen in one single kingdom, that is kingdom Monera, right? Then we come to the kingdom Protista, in which autotrophic and heterotrophic mode can also be seen, because I have told you that this kingdom Protista, it will be divided into different categories. 4 categories will be there. So we will be learning those in detail when we're dealing with Protista, right? Then we have fungi. Fungi compulsorily show heterotrophic mode of nutrition. They do not show autotrophic mode of nutrition. That means they cannot prepare their own food. They are completely dependent on autotrophs for their nutrition. So they can be saprophytic, which feed on dead or decaying matter, and they can be parasitic, which need a host, living host, for their nutrition, right? Then we have planted. You all know that plants are compulsory autotroph and they are photosynthetic autotrophs. That means they use sunlight for photosynthesis. Then we have heterotrophic nutrition in animals. Animals show compulsorily heterotrophic mode of nutrition. That means they cannot prepare their own food. They are completely dependent on different organisms for their nutrition. But which type of heterotrophic nutrition is there? It can be different, right? Because animal kingdom itself is a huge, it has different varieties. It's somehow a very vast kingdom in which different phylums are there. So there can be saprophytic mode of nutrition, holozoic or parasitic. Sorry. So we are done with 5 kingdom classification. So let's start with first phylum, first kingdom, that is kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera comprises different kind of bacteria, right? So the sole members of kingdom Monera are bacteria. Sole members are bacteria, different type of bacteria, and they show extreme range in their habitats. From a very hot and humid climate, they'll be seen in very colder regions as well, right? So all the different kinds of habitats are written here: hot springs, deserts, snow, deep oceans, right? See how vast variety of habitats they are showing, right? Then the very first feature is they are present in different shapes, right? This round form is known as cocci, right? This somehow spoon-shaped, right? They are known as bacilli, and spirala, which are somehow curved. They are known as spirilla, and the last comma shape, they are known as vibrio, right? Comma shape are known as vibrio. So somehow this, right? So different kind of shapes are shown by bacteria. The other is respiration. Bacterial respiration is of two types. It may be aerobic or anaerobic. Aerobic, as its name suggests, it means in presence of oxygen. Oxygen is there, right? And anaerobic in absence of oxygen. So, bacteria are divided into two categories. One category is those bacteria who can respire in presence of oxygen, and the other are who can respire in absence of oxygen, right? Bacterial nutrition, if we talk about bacterial nutrition is of two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic, somehow we have learned that autotrophic nutrition on the basis of raw material they are using can be of two types, photosynthetic and chemosynthetic, right? Photosynthetic are those autotrophic organisms or bacteria who use sunlight, right, for their electron transport or raw material. Sunlight is used. But in chemosynthetic, inorganic chemicals, inorganic chemicals as their raw material, right? They use inorganic chemicals as their raw material. Photosynthetic can be divided into further two categories, which are oxygenic and anoxygenic. Oxygenic, as its name suggests, it is in presence of oxygen, and anoxygenic, it is in absence of oxygen. That means photosynthetic bacteria will prepare their own food in absence of oxygen and in presence of oxygen, right? Then we have other category, that is heterotroph. This is one of the most broad type of category in which saprophytic mode, parasitic mode, holozoic mode, different kind of modes can be seen, right? Let's come to the other feature of bacteria, that is bacterial reproduction. Bacterial reproduction can be of three types. See, bacteria, they don't involved in gamete formation and then their fusion. It's somehow just the transfer of genetic material from one bacteria to other. And for that genetic transformation, or you can say that transfer of genetic material from one bacteria to other, it can be transferred by three modes, right? First is binary fission. Binary fission, we know that when one single bacteria divides itself, its body into two bacteria, two individual, that is known as binary fission. Somehow it will be divided from center and then it will result in formation of two cells, right? This is binary fission. Then endospore formation. Endospore formation is somehow the process of spore formation internally. Internal spore formation is there. Internal spores are formed, right? Then last we have genetic recombination, in which just the genetic material is exchanged. Right? This genetic exchange can be of different types. It can be for transduction, it can be through conjugation or transformation, right? We'll learn all these different kinds of genetic transformation in higher categories.